Hello again. Now this time I'm going to look at a really simple clue type. Well, it's a piece of functionality, but occasionally it'll give you a whole clue. And when you spot it, and it's reasonably simple to spot, there's no more working out to do, it's nice and easy, and it's like a free hit. You can stick that one in and move on. So I'll jump straight into an example. Initially, men in space somehow fail to hit. 4 letters, initially, men in space somehow fail to hit. Now, alarm bells are probably going to ring as soon as you read this clue, because you've got 4 letters as an answer and an awful lot of clue to pack into it. So you know that something has to be done with the wordplay. There has to be a function that reduces this in some way. You might be looking at somehow, which actually can indicate an anagram now and again. But the key to it, and the thing you always have to watch out for, is this word, initially. Now, initially, and there are a few others, originally, primarily, first of, something like that, simply means the initials, the first letters. And then you get M-I-S-S, miss, fail to hit. So simple. If you spot it, if you know it's there, you just read the first letters and write them down. And it's an absolute giveaway. So like I say, this word could mean other things. It could be in the middle as well. Men in space somehow initially fail to hit would do exactly the same thing. You would then have to look both ways to see if the initials of these 3 words or those 4 words were what you were using. But it doesn't have to be at the start, it doesn't have to be at the end, it could be right in the middle. But as soon as you see any word that indicates starts of things, firsts of things, it's worth having a quick read either side to check if those letters are just your answer, those first letters. But it also works as a fraction of functionality, and it can also be the last letter. So I'll have a quick look at an example of that. Lower, everyone demanded, finally subdued. Lower, everyone demanded, finally subdued. 5 letters. So obviously, from what we've been talking about just now, that indicates that you're using last letters of something. Something, something, finally. In this case, you've got to be looking at the words before, because there's only one D there. You'd work your way towards this one. It's a little bit meaner than this one, to be honest. But those 2 letters, everyone demanded, finally, are the E and the D. Your definition is subdued, I'll give you that. This is a little bit mean, but if you remember the nature episode where I talked about animals being indicated by an action they habitually perform, an animal that lows, cows low, they are lowers. It's really nasty, but that's the sort of terrible pun that crosswords tend to be built on. So if you wince and you really don't like it, it's probably right. And then you get cowed, subdued. So you see how in this case, finally was just a part of the wordplay, it was those 2 letters. Up here, it was all of the wordplay, it gave you all of the first 4 letters, and everything else is your definition. I would say this is probably more common than this. I've seen the whole clue be defined in this way before. So when you see that, when you see initially, or even finally, have a look for all those first and last letters, and you might have the absolute giveaway. That'll be all the wordplay done. And you'll fairly soon spot the fact that the final letters or the first letters make a word which means the same as the bits of the clue you aren't using. So it'll be dead simple, and it can be a really nice inroad into a crossword. Get a couple of those, get some other letters to work with, and if you look out for it, have a quick scan, you'll know pretty soon whether you've got a clue like that on your hands. So yeah, it's a nice easy start sometimes, and happy solving.